Nigel Farage joins us now live from Strasbourg. Mr. Farage, thank you very much indeed for being with us. We're not quite sure what title to give you on the bottom of the screen this morning. Are you now once again the leader of the UK Independence Party?
Technically, yes, that's right, because the Diane James did not become officially, legally, the leader of UKIP, so my name is still there. So I will continue as the acting leader of UKIP whilst we redo the election process.
And are you interested in a second resurrection and taking over the party?
No, not at all. I've done my bit, you know. It's a pretty rotten job being leader of any political party, and I think being leader of UKIP is probably more rotten than all the others. Now, I've done my bit. I'm still very much a member of the party. I'm doing my stuff for the party here in the European Parliament, and I intend to see that process through. But no, it is time for somebody else to do the job. And I'm sorry that Diane James, who, you know, I thought had all the right qualities to do the job, and I'm sorry, I guess a combination of personal reasons, and I also guess understanding just the extent to which this job would change her life. I'm sorry that what's happened today has happened, but I will say this, it's better that it happened now than in 6 months' time.
Do you think she was the wrong person for the job? We saw her sort of dodging your kiss on the day that you tried to hand over.
Well, retrospect's always a wonderful thing, isn't it? I've watched her come into the party, grow through the party. I've thought she's one of our better performers on television, radio, platforms, and all the rest of it. Look, I feel a bit sorry for her today. I know it's an inconvenience for the party. I know it doesn't look great, but you know what? We could be the Labour Party. They're in an even worse position. And as someone said this morning, UKIP, without a leader, is still in many ways more electable than Labour with one.
I mean, isn't the real truth that while you have probably been the most influential British politician of your generation in terms of achieving Brexit, that now that you've done it, UKIP is a pointless party?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think the answer is very simple. Number one is there are people out there who are now UKIP voters. They believe in UKIP because they see us as the party that changed politics, that shifted the centre of gravity, and they want to go on voting for us. Secondly, the big increase in UKIP votes over the last couple of years has come from the Labour communities, either directly from Labour voters or from people who've fallen off the voting register. And quite frankly, I think the direction that the Labour Party has taken under Corbyn means that there is a real wealth of opportunity for UKIP, particularly in the Midlands, the North, Wales and places like that. Now, in terms of our key objective, fighting for and winning a referendum, at the moment, Mrs May is saying all the right things. In fact, the stuff she's saying today about not sneering at people who are patriotic, I mean, this is all the stuff that I was saying 2 or 3 years ago and being laughed at outright for doing. The thing is, what Mrs May is doing is she's raising expectations. If, by the spring of 2019, she has not delivered, then I think you will see UKIP in a much bigger and a much more powerful position than it's ever been before.
I mean, on immigration, she's pretty much saying what you've been saying as well, isn't she?
Oh, very much so. Although I do remember a Conservative Party conference before the last general election when she was lauded as being this great heroine figure who was going to reduce numbers coming into Britain, and yet we got the figures, net 1/3 people last year came in. So there is a track record here of a politician who looks good, sounds good, says all the right things, and doesn't always deliver.
Now, just 2 quick final questions. The first is, if this leadership contest is going to be rerun without you, does it need to have some of the other big names, Paul Nuttall, for example, Suzanne Evans, maybe Douglas Carswell, Stephen Wolfe, get the people actually identify with UKIP running for the leadership rather than the second division?
Well, that's slightly, if I agree with that question, I'm going to be somewhat condescending to those who stood just a few weeks ago. I would like to see the big names, the better known names in UKIP standing in this contest, and I think they probably will.
And finally, Donald Trump. Are you advising him at the moment, trying to make him a bit more of a people's politician and less of a sort of arrogant boaster?
Yeah, I'm not part of Trump's direct team, but I have, over the course of the last couple of weeks, said quite a lot on American media about how I think Trump should deal with Hillary in this coming debate this Sunday, and I should be there in the audience watching and commentating on Sky about it.
And do you think he'd be good for Britain if he becomes US president?
Well, at least he likes Britain. I mean, I don't think the current president thinks terribly much of us. Look, whatever one thinks of Trump, the American election is very simple. If you vote for Clinton, you're voting for things to stay exactly as they are. If you vote for Trump, you're voting for change. And I think that the atmosphere in American politics is really very similar to that we saw before the Brexit result in June in our country. So I actually think, he is going to win.